Welcome on into the Wild Willie Podcast Show. I'm Willie Cologne, and he is...
JJ, baby. What's going on with you, Big Willie?
Hey, JJ, Super Bowl week. We are live. To everybody headed down to New Orleans to see the big game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Best of luck. It is going to be a rocking good time in New Orleans. If your team didn't make the Super Bowl, like JJ and I's team, at least we have family, football, and fun coming this way this Sunday, so it's going to be a good time. Me and JJ are actually going to be together for the Super Bowl. I'm going to be in Jackson, Mississippi at JJ's house.
That's right.
Watching the game. I'm excited. We're going to have his family, my family, his grandkids, my kids, and it's going to be a rocking good time. I am heading down to New Orleans. I got some things to do. Me and Keisha, we got some events, some parties to attend, kiss baby, shake hands, and take a couple pictures. That's what we plan to do. And on top of that, enjoy the festivities. JJ, the Super Bowl is important to you. Why?
Because I get to hang around y'all. I'm just going to be honest, Big Willie. I mean, god dang. I mean, my Cowboys ain't in it. I had two goddamn teams in the same division to fight to go to the Super Bowl. So, to be honest with you, it's exciting so I can spend time with friends and family. And of course, I'm rooting against the Eagles because I don't want them to win. They in my goddamn division, Big Willie. That's true. Do you know I won't hear the last of this? No, I'm going with KC. I hope they do 3-peat. Got done. My girls went to Alcorn, and they was the Braves, so I'm singing that song like they did. Da, 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 da. Then they say, whoop, 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 whoop. You know about that, Big Willie?
I'm learning. Well, listen, Super Bowl is always an important time for me because it's a sense of nostalgia. Everybody knows, or if you don't know, I won a Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Super Bowl 43 to be exact, against the Arizona Cardinals. And I also went to Super Bowl, I think 49, whatever. It was against the Green Bay Packers. I forget what number it was. And we happened to lose that one. Nevertheless, man, with me having a son now, he doesn't know about daddy's football career. He just knows there's a bunch of jerseys and people get excited from time to time when they love the Jets or the Steelers. And so he's always scratching his head like, oh, what's so important about dad, right? So it's a good time to kind of show him why dad mattered at one point. Not that I don't matter, but why I was a big deal when I played. And, you know, the cool thing for a lot of guys who was blessed, extremely blessed to win the Super Bowl, the NFL Network goes through every Super Bowl that was ever played, all the games, so to speak. So I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. It was maybe longer than that. I finally watched my Super Bowl, the one I won, in its entirety. I had never watched it before, Jay. I always
Hold on, Big Willie. You ain't never watched the Super Bowl, Big Willie.
Bro, I'm being dead ass.
Come on, man.
I'm serious. So I always watched highlights. I've always watched clippings. But I've never watched the game from the anthem to the end of the game. I never watched it. So one time, Akeisha was in the house and she asked, hey, have you ever watched your Super Bowl? I'm like, I've watched it, but not like watched it. I haven't watched it from a fan's perspective. And JJ, I think we had one of the best Super Bowls ever, right? I think we had one of the best ones. But to watch yourself as if you don't know what's going to happen is a surreal feeling. Like I was on the field. Like I watched the throw from, and I was a part of the throw from Ben Roethlisberger to San Antonio in the back of the end zone to bring home number 6 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I can tell you, I had knots in my stomach watching the game. I was like literally nervous and had like this anxious energy. Like, oh my God, it was such a good game. And it's awesome because now I'm privileged to sit my son down when he actually understands football and hopefully one day wants to play football. They hear, oh man, that's dad. You know, that's the Super Bowl. This is why it's important, on and on and on. And so it's a good time of the year to kind of reflect. And because sometimes from a ball player standpoint, yes, I'm extremely blessed to be called a Super Bowl champ. But what was important to me and still is important, especially when I talk to kids and then me and my teammates get together, we remember the journey more than the game itself. Yeah, the game was important and it was awesome, but it took so much to get there. And you remember the guys in the locker room. You remember the moments that really kind of catapulted you through that season, and that's when it all comes alive again this time of year. So this is awesome. I'm always a fan of the Super Bowl because now that I have a wife who loves the game of football as much as I do, who is a rocking diehard New Orleans Saints fan, it's a good time because her competitive spirit always comes out, especially for her teams that are playing. Yeah. But even around this time, we have a tradition in our house, and we're going to share the tradition. We're going to share the tradition with you, JJ, where we usually host the Super Bowl parties at my house. Well, this year we're bringing a party to you.
Yes,
but
sir.
Everybody wears their respective team's jersey to the Super Bowl.
I know you. God damn.
I'm saying that to say, JJ, damn. When the Colognes show up, damn. We will be rocking our respective favorite team. So I will have a Steeler or Jets jersey on. My son will have a Steeler or Jet jersey on. My wife will have a New Orleans Saints jersey. The only person that is a question mark over their head is my baby doll, Holly. We don't know. She's the only one that doesn't have that's kind of, if you will, we're going to shake the 8 ball with her. She has an option between 3 teams, the Saints, the Steelers, or Jets, that she has to pick for.
Not the Cowboys?
That's not an option. I don't think I said that one. I think I gave you 3 teams. There's only 3 teams she's allowed to support. She's allowed to change it as she gets older, but we're trying to start her on the right path, right? I mean, the Jets are a little bit of a tough one. And so it's interesting. So me and my wife are trying to decipher what jersey should Holly be wearing. Last year, I think she put on from our son's birthday, I think it was a Steeler jersey. So we'll see. But we're going to have fun with that. I'm excited to celebrate Super Bowl with you and So Gucci and the whole clan and my clan, and we're going to have a good time. JJ, I do want to throw something at you. You ready?
Okay.
You have been to multiple parties, meaning you have been to multiple Super Bowl parties. Mm-hmm. There's always a pack of people, and I'm gonna split these people in half. Either the girlfriend who is now with the boyfriend who doesn't really care about football, but she wants to be there in support. And there's always that other side who really don't pay attention to football, but they're the casual fan. They're like, I don't pay attention to it, but I want to be, I'm here for the chips and dips and wing. These are people who, JJ, annoy me. They annoy me because their education and their lack of passion for the game on the Super Bowl is probably one of the biggest games of the year. Like, exactly. It's American. It's an American sport. I know a lot of people who travel from overseas necessarily don't care about the Super Bowl because they're more into soccer and other things like that. But here in the USA, in our country, football is king and the Super Bowl is the big dance, if you will. So you have to care. And if you don't care, there's ways of surviving the day. And I want to share that with you, Jay.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. If you don't know who's playing, just for clarification, the Kansas City Chiefs are on their way, if they win, to have a three-peat, which means they are already, Patrick Mahomes has 3 Super Bowls. They won last year and they won the year before that. So if they win this year, this will make 3 in a row for the Kansas City Chiefs, which is a big deal, which has never been done in the history of the NFL. As far as the Philadelphia Eagles, this is another big game because they have been to the Super Bowl twice in 5 years. And on top of that, Saquon Barkley has been a difference for this team. And what's important about Saquon Barkley, he's kind of sacrificed some individual accolades for the betterment of the team. He is a representation of selflessness. So that's a little background tech on both teams. Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, Jalen Hurts, the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, are going head-to-head. Once again, they've been here before. Patrick Mahomes did defeat Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts and he had a good Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, I think, threw for over 300 yards, ran for 2 touchdowns, something like that. So he did have a good Super Bowl. But nevertheless, this will be a good game between 2 teams. Jay, your thoughts on both teams real quick.
I think it's going to be a hellified game. I think it's going to be, I'm going to be honest with you, game to remember because for one, you got one team trying to do what no team in history has ever done, and that's the three-peat. They're not going to let Mahomes outbeat the GOAT, which is Brady, and get 7 rings. So the only thing they could do is let them get 3 rings. So they're going to be fighting to get 3 rings. And, of course, Philly and the angry Philly fans are going to be fighting to get Jalen Hurts and you Saquon Barkley, their first goddamn ring. So I think there's some stuff on the line that's going to be real exciting. I think it's going to be explosive. I don't think we're going to see a boring game. I think we're going to see a lot of scoring for the simple fact it's going to be on the inside. And it's who, me personally, I think it's going to be whoever get the ball in their hand last.
Right.
I think it's going to come down.
I want to say this too also. For the girlfriend or the casual fan or the fan, the person that's not a fan, don't ask questions out loud. That's rule number one. Yeah. If you don't know, just kind of go along with the flow. And understand this, that if you don't know, you're not going to know right now. All right. Yeah. If you need to learn about the game or want to learn more about the game, figure that out after the game. That's another great one. Number two, spoiler alert. There are no plans, right? Like this game, people have waited 364 days to have opportunity to watch this game, right? So with that, come casual. Don't complain about the heat. Don't be a complainer. Don't be the nagging girlfriend. If you don't like what's going on or you feel like you're bored, don't be the girlfriend in the corner taking a million photos. What you can do is just kind of watch the flow of the guys, right? The men will kind of lead the way. And I don't want to be sexist or whatever you call it, but this is a man's holiday. And I know women love football, and I know they do a great job of supporting. But I'm speaking more to the girl or the woman or the partner that doesn't know football. So if you know football, you know what's going on, get in there, cheer for your team, rah, rah, rah. And also understand this. There's no planning before Super Bowl Sunday, right? So don't plan to do something before the game. Super Bowl Sunday is all about Super Bowl Sunday. George, thoughts, JJ?
Man, let me tell you something. Me personally, can we even do that, Big Willie? I mean, can we enjoy the game without taking pictures? I mean, it's always going to be something about the women where they're going to get down to be some type of distraction where they're going to want us to take pictures. Baby, right. Look at this. Baby, can you do that? I mean, Willie, we don't have that many days to just enjoy ourselves and be in front of the TV and in the mood. And they come down to that 3rd and inches or that goddamn 3rd and 9, that big goddamn play. And all of a sudden you hear, baby, come here, baby, can you do this? Baby, take this out. Big Willie, can they wait till after the game? I mean, Big Willie, we ain't got much. This the last goddamn game of the year right now before football season starts. Give us this day where they got down and will just take a time out and let the men just enjoy themselves. Bring us our plates. Don't let us have to even get up from the TV. Fix our plate and bring it to us. Ask us, do we want something else to drink? If we need a refill, come check it like you're a waitress just for this time being. Give us this time to enjoy men time where we can enjoy each other and not have to leave out of the front of the TV. I don't even want to leave at halftime. Let us enjoy the Super Bowl halftime show. I want to see what the Budweiser horses got planned this year. I want to see what's new. What's got done going on in commercial. Give us that time. If I have to take a pee break, bring me a goddamn cup and let me pee in it. I don't even want to get up to go to the bathroom. Just give us that time, Big Willie.
I agree. I totally agree with you. And
so Gucci and they're talking about what now? What?
By the way, if you don't know what to wear, keep it casual, right? If you don't have a respective team, just keep it light, keep it casual. As my wife likes to say, keep it cute, girl. All right. Also, 2 for 1, right? This is another one. 2 for 1.
So Gucci brought me a cup. I guess she want me to pee in it.
Well, it's good to keep her in training.
There you go.
I'm gonna say this: 2 for 1, man. Listen, for everybody if you're a casual fan or you're a girlfriend that's going to be going to a Super Bowl party, bring a bestie. This is a good time where you ask your bestie to tag along, because most of the time, if you're a part of a Super Bowl party, people there will be cheering for the respective teams that are playing. And if you're not cheering for those teams and you need somebody to entertain you, this is where you drop a little nugget to your best team. Be like, hey, man, I'm going to this game. It's going to be a lot going on. I don't know what's going on. This is where I need you to get me through this game. So this is where best friends and wingmans are needed. So hopefully that happens. If you have one that you can lean on, this is a good time to bring them with you because it always works out. Bring something to the table. If you don't know football, which you should do a little research before you go to the big party. But if you don't, it's fine. You figure it out later. But bring something to the table. football is a food sport. Football, food go hand in hand. So there's going to be a ton of hors d'oeuvres. There's going to be a ton of drinks. There's going to be a lot going on. What I suggest is if a lot of people, if you're going to bring a dish that you make and you have not been told this is the best dish they have ever eaten, do not bring that dish to the party, right? It's very much like Thanksgiving in the sense that certain people or I guess subscribe to make their signature dish. If your signature dish has not been accepted or approved by multiple people, do not bring that to the party. What you can do is either order something, buy something from the local whatever, your chicken or your chicken spot or your supermarket, whatever. But do not make something that hasn't been approved by folks who care about you and love you. Because if you bring that to the party, you are representing the person who came with you. All right. And they're going to be like, don't date that girl. She can't make no goddamn buffalo chicken dip. Or don't date that girl. You see what you taste that cake. So to save the embarrassment, to save yourself, either buy something or order something that you know is going to be a home run. I'm a fan of pizza. I'm a fan of ordering things that people can't say no to. That's how you win at a Super Bowl party.
Yes, sir.
JJ.
Well, a guy named Coach that I know say they had a wonderful time with a gathering once upon a time. And he loves potato salad. But this woman particularly wanted to bring some potato salad, and she had the potato salad mixed with ketchup. Can you imagine that, Big Willie?
Potato salad mixed with ketchup?
Big Willie, it was red.
I've never even heard of that.
Me neither, Big Willie.
That was possible.
And he trust me, he said nobody touched it. He said he ain't never in his life, much as he loved potato salad, he's a potato salad freak, ever seen ketchup made with potato salad. He said potato salad made with ketchup. He said, no, sir. Nobody touched it. That was an embarrassment. Everybody talked about it. He said she was embarrassed. He don't even know why she bought it. But I understand, Big Willie. Bring something everybody is going to eat. And if you're going to make potato salad, do not bring it when it's made with ketchup. Maybe they ran out of mustard. I don't know, Big Willie. And they figured they can get the same taste from ketchup. Whatever it was, I don't know. But I don't think they should have did.
And I feel bad for the guy because at the end of the day, people's like, well, who made that? Was that Cheryl over there that made that? Did Cheryl make that potato salad with the ketchup? See, I knew something. I didn't like her from the door. I knew something about her. People will talk about you. It leads to other conversations. And Cheryl could be a great girl, right?
Yeah.
She could do great work in the community. She could be stunning. Yeah. But because she made the goddamn potato salad with the ketchup, people are going to be dragging her ass for eternity. I mean,
but Big Willie, you're a man that like to taste exotic, different things. You wouldn't have just tried it?
No, I don't know. Because it's tough to think about because I'm trying to put myself in her man's shoes. Yeah. If she would have told me that's what she was bringing, I'm like, do you not want this to work out for us? Like, do you not want us to win as a couple? Because this is a loss. This is a goddamn loss. People like that's not even white folks thing. No. Like, white folks don't even do that. You know what I mean? Like white folks or would put apples or raisins or some type of silly shit in a potato salad. Yeah. But to put ketchup, I'm like, you must have a drug problem. You must have a drug habit. Like that's what you're telling the rest of the party, that you're unstable because you decided to put goddamn ketchup in a potato salad and then had the nerve to serve it like as this is it. Yeah. Like that's not a win. No, it's not a win. And that's bad. So everybody, once again, we're going to do a quick wrap. For everybody that's going to be attending this year's Super Bowl and going to a Super Bowl party, if you're going to a Super Bowl party, that's what I mean. Understand the rules that JJ and I have laid out for you will promote a more safe, fun, and entertaining time for somebody who necessarily doesn't watch football or care about football in that manner, but it keeps you in the safe zone. If you step out of those things, well, power to you. Best of luck. Exactly. And hopefully the people don't turn on you and want to beat you up for everything me and JJ suggested, and you decide to go the other way. By the way, coming up, we have Ryan Mundy, Super Bowl champ. He was on the Pittsburgh Steelers with He does a great job in the mental health space. Follow him. He is an amazing human being, a father of two, and I've grown to know Mundy in a lot of different ways, but is a super smart brother, educated. We also have one of my fraternity brothers, Jabari Weatherspoon, who I love dearly. We are both Qs, members of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So with that said, they will be joining JJ and I, and we're going to talk a little bit about fatherhood. And while we're talking about fatherhood, this jumped up, JJ. I don't know if you knew this, but this story about D. Wade, let me read it to you real quick.
Okay.
According to NBC News, Dwayne Wade is recalling how a routine checkup turned into a life-changing cancer diagnosis that forced him to confront his own mortality and ultimately led to the removal of 40% of his kidney, JJ. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. I read the article, man. It just shows you don't know what people are actually going to up in, in real life. People look like they fine, but people really be going through some things that people don't know about. And that's the reason it's important, man, to treat every day like it's your last. Enjoy life. Go out there, goddamn it. Don't second guess yourself, man, and try to do the right things up in life, where you can be comfortable with yourself, feel good about yourself. So whenever you leave this world, you can know, goddamn it, that you done did everything that you know how to do, and you'll be blessed for. Because, man, we can be here today and gone tomorrow, and there had to be a scary moment to even know that. And you just gotta keep God on your side. Cause Big Willie, you can be healthy one day and sick the next, and it can just come out the blue. And man, it's a blessing that he caught, what he did, because if I'm not mistaken, is it something that happened with him or his dad to make him want?
Well, this is how it went. So people don't know, for ball players, man, once we retired, a lot of us don't get routine checkups. When we play, we always have to take a physical before the start of the season. So we're kind of always on par with our current condition. D Wade has been retired for some time now. And so I think he really necessarily wasn't, really looking under the hood. He's all of 6'4". He looks like he's in great physical shape. However, man, his father underwent surgery, and so he said, "Hey, my dad went underneath the knife. I'm getting up there in age. Let me do a full body exam." And what they found was a tumor. And it says right here is that the tumor couldn't be biopsied. The surgery was the only way to confirm if it was cancerous. So on December 18th, 2023, Wade had a surgery to remove 40% of his kidney, a move that turned out to be life-saving. So thank God D. Wade did do the full body exam, and thank God they was able to get that tumor out and discover that it was cancerous, which caused, once again, the removal of 40% of his kidney. I'd say this to say that, JJ, and we talk about all the time, health is wealth, and people get scared of the doctor, right? Because the doctor most of the time doesn't have the best of news. They kind of look under the hood and say, "Hey, man, you got to cut this back, you got to do this, or we may have to worry about this, and you need more testing." I know, as a father, you're a father, and have been around most men in my community, we run from the doctor. We run from the doctor and dentist because in some of our minds, no news is the best news. But the problem is we somehow, or most of the time, forget when it's upon us and things start to happen, it's sometimes too late. And that's the biggest thing. So everybody out there, man, as we keep rolling through the new year, and as we kind of push towards better health, go to the doctor. Yeah. Just have the conversation, figure out what's going on with you, either good, bad, or indifferent. But you rather know than not know. And I say that to not only men and women. My mother was terrified of the dentist, and people don't realize how much your mouth tells you everything that's going on with the body, right? So if you don't take care of your mouth, a lot of things can happen in the body that can be detrimental to your health. JJ, you are somebody who's been dealing with a lot from that side, obviously with the loss of your mother. Has that awakened a side of you where you're more health conscious and paying more attention to your health?
Big Will, I'm going to be honest with you. My mama been staying on me for the longest about getting checked. And believe me, before I started, it was one of them situations where I like my granddad used to tell me, ain't no need to go in the doctor call. Goddamn, if they job to find something, if they don't find nothing, they can't make no money. So I'm going to be honest with you. It took me a minute, but I'm going to be honest with you, Big Willie. Once I got up in my 40s and everything, I had to go down and start getting them checked up because my mama wasn't gonna take no for an answer. And right now, I do a yearly checkup where I'm checking blood, every goddamn thing, and really, trying to keep an eye on myself, Big Willie. So that's a must where I get checked once a year and get them teeth goddamn clean, goddamn at least twice a goddamn year, Big Willie, every 6 months.
Well, it's also good that you got a wife that's super health conscious. That helps too. Once again, we got Ryan Mundy coming up. My good friend, one of my good friends, Jabari Weatherspoon. We're going to talk about fatherhood. Why wait till Father's Day to celebrate fatherhood? We're going to do a quick deep dive and get everybody's perspective on the state of fatherhood in the Black community. Come on back to the Why Willie Podcast Show. Welcome on into the Why Willie Podcast Show. I'm Willie Claude, and he is
JJ, baby. What's going on with your Big Willie?
Oh, JJ, I was walking around and I was stewing, and since it's Black History Month, I decided, man, let's debunk some stigmas, right? And anytime Black History comes around, I'm like, we always talk about the history, and we talk about things that have happened in the past that we should take pride in. But one thing I'm extremely proud of, being a Black man who is a father, that I'm around other fathers who are doing great things. So I said, let me get this open discussion. Let's really have some meaning of the minds, man. And I don't want to wait till Father's Day to acknowledge all the great men who are doing their job, who haven't left their post. And so I said, I got to scratching and thinking and sliding down my phone to say, this is a good brother and this is another good brother. So on the podcast, man, I have my former teammate, Super Bowl champion, that is, the pride of West Virginia, the pride of Michigan. He's played for multiple teams. There's only one team I care about, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ryan Mundy, what's up, good brother?
What's up, brother? Thank you for that context. And I was wondering, like when my brother hit me up, he's like, hey, you want to come on my podcast? I'm like, cool. All right. What time? Right. And so I just said, but that context is helpful. So thank you for thinking I'm a good brother to invite me on here today.
I know you very well, Ryan Mundy. So and on the other hand, my fraternity brother, somebody who I hold very close to my chest, somebody that has taught me a lot and continues to grow on me in a lot of ways. My dear brother, Jabari Weatherspoon. Jabari, I want to give you the respect in your job title. So can tell the people, you are a former football player. People don't know that. Some do, some don't. That was years ago. But what's your current job title so I don't mess that up and get you in trouble?
So currently I'm a director of accounting here at a major law firm here in the Midwest. So just a numbers guy by nature. Actually, the only 6 o'clock classes, those of us that play college football know, the only classes I passed were those 6 o'clocks to get out of conditioning, and they just happen to be accounting. So career accountant here about it's 2025, man. So about 20 plus years. So the largest accountant in America, I think.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate both of you great brothers spending the time and jumping on JJ and I. I want to get right to it, man. Today's topic, I want to talk about fatherhood, as I mentioned. And I want to start with you, Ryan, because you do a great job in the mental health space. I know you've really kind of carved the lane for really allowing brothers off the field, or just Black men in general, being able to be vulnerable and talk about things that we kind of don't talk about in our community. You have become this face that I think a lot of people are used to seeing, solely because I think you've been an advocate of saying, hey, man, we got to have open dialogue about what's real and what's not, and how can we get better as a community, as men. Moving forward, man, I know you are a father of two beautiful girls. It's awesome to see you kind of dwell in that space, because I remember when you was Ryan was, he was like the Hitch of Pittsburgh, right? He was this handsome gentleman. I think he looks like he could be a Disney prince, for Christ's sakes, right? Like this guy girls would just stop in their tracks and be like, oh my God. I'm like, hey man, I'm the one with the wings and the bottles. Pay attention over here, right? So girls loved Ryan Mundy. But I want to say this, Ryan, moving forward, what has surprised you about fatherhood?
Oh man. One, that is all alleged happenings that you're talking about in the past. But on a serious note, what has surprised me, I think the personal development that I've really started, and I think it's been recent for sure, but really my oldest daughter's about to be 13, so pretty much during that whole time period. But just you have to kind of evolve yourself as a person to navigate and manage and be present for your child, because the reality is your child is not you. and you always kind of have to remind yourself of that. While at the same time striking this fine line of like, look, like I've accomplished a lot in my life, and I think I know what I'm talking about sometimes. And so using like tested, tried and true principles that, I know to be true for myself, and sometimes rationalizing those and saying that's true for me, but that's not true for my child. And so always making sure that I'm checking myself, because I'm not parenting myself, I'm parenting my daughter.
Jabbar.
I think fatherhood has taught me a lot. So I've been a father essentially my entire adult life. I don't count adulthood until you get out of undergrad. And now I have a daughter who's a sophomore, a rising sophomore at Penn State, right? So it's taught me kind of the evolution, how life is full circle. I have an older daughter who's sophomore at Penn State. I have a son who's 13. I have another daughter who's 10. So I really, the cyclical nature of life, right? How we grow out of immaturity through kind of responsibility, through not necessarily through circumstance, but through kind of the adoption of wanting to do more and do more for someone else than you would for yourself. And I think fatherhood and parenthood is like the epitome of that. So, I can admittedly say that the first 22, 23 years of my life were lived in a selfish way. But I think it's, what fatherhood teaches you is like, this thing is bigger than yourself, and all you really have is legacy. All you really have is what you impart. And through that imparting, I think to Ryan's point, you grow and develop so more yourself. You go through this journey with them, right? As they're growing, you're continuing to grow, right? Like adulthood is really obviously the largest part of your life, but it's so expansive. And I think being a father helps you kind of learn and grow along with your children. So I definitely think fatherhood has matured me in ways that are almost, unimaginable. And it's still going.
Oh man, I'm just gonna be honest with you. It definitely is what he said. It matures you because everybody can say, "Boy, before you had them children, you wide open out here, goddamn." I'm talking about, boy, you going in and out. It's like night, goddamn, it come quick, goddamn, the morning come, goddamn, early. I mean, it's like you ain't got no breathing room. You so far out there, you don't even realize you're moving so fast. But for some reason, when you have children, it's like it slow you down, and all the stuff that didn't matter, it's starting to matter right now. Because now you're trying to put more time up into your children. Now the things you was doing, you're trying to keep them from seeing the things you were doing, and it start maturing you, making you a better person, so you can be the dad that your children want you to be. Not that they want you to be, that they need you to be, because you got to be inspiration up in their life, and you got to make sure you're doing the right things to bring up good habits so they can see. So whenever they get with who him or her gonna get with, they gonna be like, well, dang, my daddy, with this kind of person, he was this role model, he did this right here, I want somebody like my daddy. So we start cutting out the wild things that we normally do, that we used to do, so they can see the mature things that they need to see, so they can make better decisions in life based off their father.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, man, because I remember when I was in the league, man, and I was running the streets, and I was a little bit of Wild Willie, if you will. My mama would say the thing, she would say something like, man, you need to have some children so they slow you down. Yeah. I'm like, I don't want no goddamn kids to slow me down. And that kind of was like my form of birth control, because that's how I thought about kids, right? That kids do necessarily hunker you down, right? Because to your point, there's a sense of responsibility, and now you're raising another adult, right? Not adult, you're raising somebody who pretty much is your blood is running through them. But I do want to say this as far as surprise, man. I didn't realize that my kids, or my kids in general, I think kids in general, they do the best job when it comes to wellness check. I can't tell you there's times where I'm at the table and I'm pissed off either at the wife or whatever's going on, and my son or my daughter would be like, hey, daddy, you okay? If for some reason that one question opens me up, I want to pivot to this too. We've all talked about fatherhood from that aspect. I think, Mundy, you kind of hit something that I thought hit on the head, man. I realized that a lot of things I kind of carry is really the trauma from my father, right? I carry my mother and my dad's trauma. And it took me to kind of realize that parents or people too, and I've said this on the pod a number of times, when you start seeing your parents as people, it gives you a different lens to look through, and it allows you to accept their bullshit. With your own kids, and I know you're very close to your dad, at your ripe age, I imagine you're still young, Mundy. Do you have conversations with your dad about how he raised you and how you're navigating your own fatherhood? What's the type of conversations you have with him?
I'm turning 40 next week, so I don't know if that still counts as still young. But yeah, my dad, like growing up, my dad was always there. He was like your kind of prototypical black dad, like strong, doing what needs to be done, very discipline oriented, etc. And he was always there, and he was always my coach. And long story short, I hated having my dad around because he was always there. And he had this way about him of just like pushing my buttons in a way to kind of get me to perform on the field or at a task at hand, whatever it was, right? That was his way of kind of like motivating me. And during a time I hated it, but then, in retrospect as an adult and then now as a parent, I look back and I look at it through a different lens, through the lens of like now being a parent. And would I do that with my daughters? No, because they're not built for that, right? Like my dad did what was needed to be done for me to be the person that I am today. And so because that happened, I wouldn't change it for the world. And that's what I was talking about a little bit before around like I'm not parenting myself based off of what I know and how my dad parented me. Now I got to like pivot and figure out like, what is this mold of clay that I have in front of me and how can I best like support it to make it its best and highest use or whatever we want to kind of call that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's kind of how I look at my daughters now. Like I'm kind of very responsive to them in real time because they're not the same person today that they were yesterday and the day before and so on and so forth. And so always just making sure that I have a pulse check with like, who are my daughters right now? Right. So that I can have an accurate view and really kind of make sure that I'm understanding who they are in this present moment is really important. And the ways that I do that, like I'm listening to the same music that they listen to. I watch a lot of the same things that they watch. Like, I know Dua Lipa and Billie Eilish and all this other segment stuff. You know what I'm saying? I've done all the things. And actually, like a lot of it is actually pretty dope, right? And I never would have thought that. I never would have saw that for myself, right? Like the young kid from Pittsburgh who grew up, loving Pac and Biggie. So I never would have saw this day for myself, but now I can't unsee it, right? And I think that's the beauty in parenthood because it teaches you things about yourself by like working with your kids.
My daughters are definitely little princesses, even the older one. So there still is a level of monetary communication that always opens the lines, right? When they hear that Cash App cha-ching, that usually will get me a text and open the gateway to some communications. But really, it's about meeting them where they're at. I think Ryan made a good point about the music. My youngest daughter is into like K-pop. I have no interest in K-pop, but I'll sit, I'll listen, and I'll try to find some common ground, some commonality, right? And when you really make the effort to maybe get out of what we feel as though these are these traditional fathership molds, especially with our daughters, we really do, and meet them kind of on the planes that they're on. It really is a real good linchpin for opening up communication. My oldest daughter is going to be an architectural engineer. I don't know anything about that, but if I see a cool building, why not send a picture and open up the lines? Like, hey, like this is something I'm thinking. This is something I'm thinking about. Tell me about this. I mean, I think even in business, right? When I'm sitting in a boardroom and I feel like I have nothing in common with this person, right? Really, what you're trying to do is find commonality in communication and let people talk about themselves, and through that, you're able to open up pathways that you never thought were possible. And I think it's really good in all interpersonal communication. And if we start there with our daughters, and you soon will, Willie, I think you'll get farther. Like meet her where she is, and allow her to kind of tell you what interests her, and then just fill in from there, man.
JJ, you're different from, because obviously you've been on reality TV for so long and Dancing Dolls when your daughters were competing. I know. Listen, I'm competitive with my son, and I'm also competitive with my daughter. And you guys have a unique situation because your girls are technically they've grown up, they become stars in their own right, especially in the dancing world. How have you kept it, I guess, copacetic? And I know there's a lot coming with that, but somebody who's dealing with daughters who are stars, and obviously you consider yourself a reality star, how has that line not been crossed?
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a lot of lines that been crossed, Big Willie. As y'all, Ryan and Jabari, my daughters was some of the biggest stars on a show called Bring It with the Dancing Dolls. They internationally known. That's how
Oh,
basically
that's
I
what's
got
up.
known because now I'm not JJ. Every time they see me, I'm Son J Dad. What's up, Son
Yep.
J Dad? That
Yeah.
that that
Yep.
that became a new name. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Them girls, I got them involved. I'm differently. I had to, instead of the football, I had to get into the dancing and the cheerleading thing. So,
Right. Yeah.
so Big Willie, I had to put my pom poms up. Got done it. So they didn't want to go to practice.
Mm.
Man, they ask me all the time, Dad, do we have to go to practice today? I'm like, yeah, you gonna go to practice. They even got done to be, man, they have the attitudes. And when I tell you they did not want to go, and I had a theory. I say a devil mind, a idle mind is a devil workshop. When you let a child sit around the house, got done and just doing what they want to do, they gonna get into trouble. You got done and
Mm.
got to keep their mind busy, and that was one of the ways I kept them busy to keep their minds off little boys. Cause I'm gonna be honest with you, if they got done and sitting there, y'all know all this social media, everything they got going. You fighting
Yeah.
against social media. You trying to got
Yeah.
done it get in your children head so they can stay focused. So you got to
Right.
keep them busy. So by the time my children got out of school, got some homework done, go to practice, come back, got there, eat, do homework, they ain't have time to think
Yeah.
about nothing. And if they did want to think about them, I had them so busy that they couldn't. And my thing is, I told them, when you get old enough where you can go to college, you get your own, then you have your input of what you want to do in life. But when you're under daddy rule, you ain't got no choice. You gonna got down and get
Mm.
out here, you gonna do what you gotta do, and you gonna make the best out of it. Little did I know what I was doing came out to be a great thing, Ryan. Because for one, my oldest, she wanted to quit. She told me, she said, Dad, I know you say we cannot got down and be involved. We got to be involved in something. And I'm going into my senior year. She said, I don't go to prom. I don't go to the basketball games. I don't go to the football games. I'm never participating in nothing my school got going because I'm always dancing. We always doing competition. I have no room to enjoy my senior year, my high school, nothing. She said, if you just let me quit this year, I get on the cheerleader team with my school. At least I can start doing some of the things at the school. I hated it, Ryan. I hated it, Big Willie. It was something in my gut and my feelings saying this ain't right. This ain't right. I said, you know what? I don't like it, but she made me eat my words. As long as you're gonna be involved and you're gonna be doing something, I gotta accept it. I still didn't feel good about it. She said, yes. Man, she was so excited. Man, and something in me wouldn't rubbing right. Do you
Mm.
know they was gonna have tryouts the following week? She said, Daddy, when they have tryouts, I'm just not going to go to practice. She said, and that way they'll know that I'm not coming back. I didn't feel good. That
Mm.
same week, they was looking for the Dancing Dolls of, I think, Baton Rouge, but they came across the Dancing Dolls, which was the Look Girls, got done at that out of Jackson, Mississippi, and they took a liking to them. So they asked Coach D, do you mind if we interview your girls, because we like you to do a reality show, and basically
Mm.
we're going to pick the top four out of all the 100 girls that we want to be the main cast.
Right.
Just so happened my daughter was one of the ones they picked. If she had
Mm.
Wow.
waited another week and they
Wow.
hadn't have came, she would have missed out on her blessing. That's the reason they tell you, when you got done and think you can't go no more, don't stop, because all you got to do is hit that sludge hammer on that wall just one more time and you'll break through that wall to get to the other side. And that just show you right there that if I had a gave up, if I had to let her gave up, if I hadn't have let them go to practice, if I hadn't have made them go to practice, do what they wanted to do, they would have missed out on their blessing. And then they became internationally known
Mm.
witches.
Do you and your wife, when it comes to raising the kids, have you talked about some of the principles and morals that you want in the house, or you guys were on the same accord with everything you've done thus far?
You know what? That's a great question. At first, we were just kind of free balling, bro. Uh,
I think most parents do
yeah,
that. I think
like
you just
let's
don't
be
know.
for
You just kind
real.
of make it work.
Let's be for real. We were pretty much free balling, just trying to make sure we could make it another day, right?
Right.
And the whole world of figuring out how to be a parent. but still with just like real time communication, what's working, what's not working, problem solving, etc. But again, very much so like not having like sit down discussions about like, here's what I think and I want to do. Not really. Um, but I say that to say, as things evolve, and I think we're in a phase of parenting now where we feel like we are kind of catching our breath a little bit, and kind of our kids are older now. They could like do for self in a lot of different ways, etc.
Mm-hmm.
They're self-sufficient. That's been a game changer, right? And that frees Jill and I up time wise, resource wise, energy wise, etc. And so with that, we're in a phase now of doing just like a lot of family planning, because our girls are of age where it's like, look, in 5 years, my oldest daughter will be off to college. And that's like a real life consideration, not only for her, but for us, money wise, all these other types of things. And so, we've been in the mode of really just like sitting down and having those types of conversations around like game planning.
When you guys dealing with teenage girls, JJ, at the time when you girls were teenagers, who has the birds and the bees conversation? Is it you or is it mama?
I think we both have it. I know I have it because I'm like I was telling you all at the beginning. I'm trying to set examples where goddamn it, they'll sit there and look at their dad and say, when I get somebody, I want to make sure I got somebody like my dad. So that means I can't have women coming in and out the house, even though I'm singing, I'm a bachelor. So goddamn, I gotta be respectful of whatever I do. So goddamn it, they gotta see, well, dang, if daddy goddamn it just dealing with one woman, then I know this how life's supposed to be. But how can I tell them you can't sit here and you gonna goddamn it be with this boy, that boy, whatever, but dad is still the guy coming in and out the house. You see what I'm saying? You got, like I said, you got to make a lot of changes. You got to do things that you normally wouldn't do. You got to start doing them when you got done to become fatherhood, because you got to set examples. So yes, I got to tell them about the birds and bees. I got to tell them, look here, baby, your dad is this. This is what a little boy gonna do. This is kind of game got done. He gonna run. This is what he gonna tell you right here. This is how he gonna got done and sweet talk you and try to tell you this, and he gonna blow your mind up, make you think this and all that. To be honest with you, I just tell my daughters, the cool guys ain't always the ones you want to be with. Sometimes you got to get them ones that's up in them book, cause them the ones gonna make something of themselves. Cause them cool boys, goddamn it, just gonna be sitting there trying to depend on you and really ain't gonna be doing nothing. So you gotta kind of mix it up and kind of see the one that you want to deal with, to make the right decision. So I had to tell them that. I had to school them with game and let them know game before game came to them.
I let my wife lead a lot of conversations, bro. The reason being, I've never been a 13-year-old little girl. So I can provide the perspective of like the other side of the equation, but for what your real-time experience is, like your mother has to inform that, right? And I've not to say that like I'm taking a back seat, but like I respect the lived experience of someone who has actually been a 13-year-old little girl as opposed to someone who has not. That's kind of how I look at it. And that's how I've always kind of looked at it. The thing that I needed to really make sure that I was in tune with was like how I was showing up as with that approach and attitude. And that's what a lot of JJ was talking about around like, look, okay, based off of what's happening, here's how the other side is thinking about it, right? Like I find myself in a lot of those conversations.
It's interesting, man, because when I'm dealing with my wife, she's very conscious of our interaction in front of the kids, right? And I think it's solely because she was raised in a household with two loving grandparents. She was raised by her grandparents who were very professional, very talked. Her being from the South, JJ knows etiquette is everything, right? And how a man and woman not only address each other, but also how they handle each other in front of the public means things. And so me and my wife are very affectionate around the kids. And I can see, my kids at one point, it was just like, ugh, that's why mommy and daddy kissing. But now their heads are starting to be like, oh, okay, I guess this is what mom and dads do. They kissed. This is it. And to the point where my daughter Holly would be like, all right, mommy, it's time to kiss daddy. Let's go to bed. Like this is starting to become routine for them. And I think as I kind of venture into this, your kids are, obviously Money has teenagers and your daughters are adults, and my kids I got babies, so to speak. I'm more conscious of my mannerisms and really trying to do things that don't come off as like barbaric. All right. Because Mundy, we grew up in locker rooms, right? Like you saying you made a comment, you only know what you know, and everything you don't know, you kind of pass off. And so my son, I caught the other day with his hands in his pants, holding his nuts, right? Because where did he get that from?
Big Willie, his dad.
I know that's right.
Right, but he got it from dad, right? Because when I'm sitting down watching the game, but the problem is, this is the problem, JJ.
Yeah.
I caught my daughter doing the same thing.
Uh-oh.
That's how she started relaxing. And so I'm like, literally the conversation we had yesterday, my wife goes, look at her. So it's me with my hands in the pants watching the game. My son's walking around scratching everything. And my daughter's just kind of like, hanging out like that, how dad hangs out. And so I'm it made me like, all right, you got to be way more self-aware because now she's really watching, right? Like now she's dissecting mom, and now she's dissecting dad, and the emotional intelligence kids have it's intense, right? Because you don't think at that age they know, but they're picking everything up. Jabari, now that you're back with us, I think for somebody who's dealing with teenage, we were talking about being able to have that open line of communication, and also when it comes to birds and the bees, right? Did you have the conversation or did mama have the conversation?
So I have to be honest. If there's one thing in life I'm timid about, it was that conversation, right? So I did kind of what my dad did, which was, hey, you know what's going on, don't you? All right. Well, if you got any questions, you can ask your mama. And that was, but no, that's very difficult with daughters, man. I got to be honest. That's extremely difficult, and the kids are so. I think I did have that conversation with my oldest and my son, and what you'll find now, we're having these. My daughter's a Gen Z kid, a young Gen Z. It's just like they're so aware, right? There's so much stuff in media. Everything that they look at is over sexualized, right? So like, there's no like sneaking to stay up late to watch HBO or getting your older sister to take you to rated R movies. Like that's just their normal vernacular now, right? So the birds and the bees conversations, it probably is a little bit easier now, but it's still equally as uncomfortable, man. It's very uncomfortable. But I think it's our duty as fathers to at least set the framework for, again, that open communication and dialogue, man, because what we don't want is to have them figuring it out here on their own.
I want to throw this out there, and I kind of started when I was bringing everybody in about the stigma around Black fathers and fatherhood in general. What's one thing that pisses you off, Jabari, about how the world views Black fathers?
I think it's, that the bar is so low. I was just having this conversation today, and it really just is about why, where did we get to a point where being in the home was, not the bare minimum, or being active, or being financially responsive, or being communicative, or being, aware, or going to schools and this, that, and the third. I feel like, and I'm not married, so I'm a non-custodial parent, but I feel like I'm always praised for doing things that I think I should be naturally doing. Oh, it's so nice to see you at school, Mr. Weatherspoon. Oh, thank you for responding. Oh, it's so great to have you involved. And I'm thinking, when did the bar get so low? So those are the stigmas. Again, as a Black father, the praise is almost sometimes uncomfortable because it feels like, for me, it's the question, why isn't that a part of the normalcy, right? And I'm sure you gentlemen feel that in your own different ways, where it's like they don't even almost expect you. So it's like, where did that come from? I grew up in a 2-parent home, so where did that come from? I always wonder that. And again, it might be, what's put out there, what's absorbed by, the masses of what Black manhood is and what it entails as it relates to, our paternal side. So.
My first ever Black dad racist joke was at Hofstra. We had an outside linebacker was like, hey, man, you want to hear a racist joke? This is out of his mouth. And I was like, yeah, I guess. He goes, you know how I know you're Black? And I was like, how? When your dad doesn't come back. And it gagged me. And I was like, what the fuck? And I remember, my dad was there. He was a lot. He was a different dude. I mean, but he was there. But it was also like this kind of one in a holster. I felt like white guys in the locker room had when they looked at brothers in the locker room, like, oh, he either had a dad or he didn't. But it was like kind of that one nugget they all kept in their back pocket. And I remember saying to myself, like, damn, that's not true for all of us, right? Like that's not. Yeah, some have left the post, but most are active. If not, most of my friends' dads were active.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know what I think? I think the it's all narrative based, and it's the story of Black fatherhood is really rooted in this fear of Black men. And until like we get to the root cause of like the perception of Black men as a whole, whether you're a father or not, then I think that really kind of gets at it at its core. You know what I'm saying? Because that's why the bar is low. Trying to like, you know, this whole I think suppression or fear of like Black men is really deeply rooted and deeply seated in the history of our country. And it really is kind of what the country has been built on, you know what I'm saying? In a way, shape, and form. And so, yeah, I think just, you know, I'm really into like brand and storytelling and all that. I think the narrative of Black men needs to change, and then double clicking into that Black fatherhood and the stories that we tell. Because even when we have like success examples that we can point to in the public, like success meaning that like, hey, I raised my kids to accomplish their dreams, i.e. Dion, i.e. LeVar Ball,
Right.
i.e. you know, so on and so on. Earl Woods, like these guys are influenced like that really kind of willed into existence this massive success and like dreams come true type stuff. And they get mad. I mean, they just get hammered every time. And it's like clockwork. Here comes another Black dad. Oh, let's go at him. Like, well, how about we tell a different story about like how this guy has 3 sons and they all reached the NBA. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're still doing the thing. And the guy just put out a record. Like, why is that not a positive story? But it, you know, it's all, I think, again, rooted in just the fear of Black men.
I guess I'll throw this out to the group as a whole, man. Are you guys conscious about stories from the past, right? I think sometimes as I get older, I forget the lessons that I learned from my dad, right? I think that's the pivot. Like you have the luxury of having your father around that can kind of keep you refreshed. My father's going, JJ, Jabari, your dad's still around to my knowledge.
Well, mine is you know, I know I've been up north for a long time, but it's something that always stuck with us. You know, it's a couple things. It's things like never go to sleep mad. You know, I'm sure
You
never go to
right
sleep
about
mad
that.
at nobody because you don't know it. Look, brother from Mississippi, you know, hey, don't never stay up and argue till you get it out because you don't know if you're gonna wake up. You know, this come from our grandparents who unfortunately their life expectancy wasn't super long. That and never put certain people in your business because you can never get them out. And that was a big one. It was never put certain people of a certain persuasion in your business because once you put them in your business, you can't never get them out.
The two that come to mind, the first, my dad used to always say, preparation beats desperation every time. And so he was always like big into like preparing, putting in the work, focus, discipline, and all that jazz. And then the other one is if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. Like he made me, like this was posted on my door as a kid. And he's always just really been big into like mindset and having like a disposition and attitude. But those are the two that really kind of stick out. That words to live by, tried and true, will be with me till the day I die.
Man, let me tell you something. My dad worked so goddamn much. I damn near probably didn't even see him. My dad had 3 goddamn it jobs. I'm just being honest with you, man. My dad would come in, goddamn it, and take us to school. Then he'll get him probably about 3 or 4 hours sleep. He had got down a restaurant from 10 to 1, from the police department from 2 to 10, and security guard from 11 to 6. And to be honest with you, what I learned right there with that is if you don't work for it, you ain't gonna get it. So the lesson I learned from dad, whatever you want, don't wait around trying to get it. You do whatever to take goddamn it to get out here and get what you got to get for yourself, take care of your family, and ain't nothing gonna be given to you. So that's the reason I guess I'm in the position I am today, Big Wid, to own my own business, because I learned hard work pays off.
We're gonna close it out. Ryan Mundy, thank you, my brother. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you,
Jabari,
brother.
root to the good bros. I love you, Jabari. And JJ, as always, continue to be JJ. You're not going anywhere, so I'm not worried about you.
Boy.
We're going to come on back, the Wild Willie Podcast Show. Welcome on back to the Wild Willie Podcast Show. We're going to wrap it up. Once again, thank you to Ryan Mundy. Thank you to Jabari Weatherspoon for their perspective and being very vulnerable during that great conversation. JJ, I'm going to ask you right now, your Super Bowl prediction. Who do you think will win the big game?
KC. I'm just going to be honest. Don't give it to him. 3-peat. Taylor Swift probably going to throw the biggest goddamn Super Bowl concert afterwards. It's all playing the hand, goddamn it. Go on, get ready. I hate to tell Philly, y'all might well go on, tear down some light poles, goddamn, clam the light, bust the light, goddamn, have a
Grease
ride
the
out
poles,
there.
as they say.
Exactly. Have a ride, breaking stove, goddamn, throw some glass, do fire, because we know them rider goddamn Eagle fans gonna goddamn be ballistic after what goddamn happened. But I hate to tell you, KC going to the goddamn Super Bowl, not going, but they're gonna win the goddamn Super Bowl. You heard it right here. I'm
gonna be honest, I'm going for the Eagles, man. I want to see Jalen Hurts get it. I want to see Saquon get it. And Philly's a rocking good town, so I want to see the Eagles get the Super Bowl. I would like to see Philly. JJ's going with the Chiefs. It's disgusting. All right, to everybody out there, Super Bowl weekend is here. Congratulations once again to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, who will be playing and competing for this year's Super Bowl in NOLA, baby. I love New Orleans, one of my favorite cities in America. I love everything about it. So enjoy your Super Bowl. If your team is not in the Super Bowl, there's always next year. If you're a Cowboys fan, it's never going to happen. So just get used to it. I guess you are used to it at this point. Nevertheless, man, JJ, I'm Willie Cologne, and he is
JJ, baby, and let's go Chiefs.
Peace, y'all.